Okay, just about time to wrap up this video. To disassemble a Rubik's 4x4, I'll get to Eastsheen in a bit. You want to turn one of the faces 45 degrees, as you would on a 3x3, and see if you can pry out two of these edges. If you can't pry out two, try to center one of the edges above the edges of the next layer, and see if you can pop out just one. Depending on how loose your cube is, one of those ways might be easier than the other. You can pop out a full kind of row, and then just centers are kind of a pain to get off, but you just gotta find on this inner ball here, there's a little hole on each side, and that's where the centers will come out. Okay, so once it's disassembled, I suggest that you organize the pieces somewhat so that you're not looking around every time you need to place a piece. That'll just make the entire process of putting it back together a lot smoother. Also, anytime you take apart a puzzle, it's a very good chance, or a very good opportunity for you to clean off all the pieces. Now you can see that I have a fair bit of dust on the core and on most of the pieces. Now if I cared enough, I'd clean it all off, and I might lube it a bit, but it moves pretty nice anyway, so I'm not going to actually do that. Okay, so I got everything organized really nice, and that'll make things a lot easier when I'm putting it back together. So of course we're going to start with the core, and we're going to place the first center on it. Okay, so for these corners, you'll notice there's a crescent-shaped tab on them, and that tab fits into the little cutout that I mentioned before. That's really the only way you'll get them to fit in. So to place a full center, you're going to want to place them in one at a time and just slide them out of the way so you can get the next piece in. Kind of a pain, but there's really no other way. So, and then once you get them all, you can just group them up. Or try to. There we go. So when I get the first center, I just flip it around so that it's on the bottom, and we're good to go for the next one. Or not the next one, the bottom layer edges. So I'll place all the bottom layer edges now. And also, you'll notice that edges aren't actually symmetrical, and they're definitely not interchangeable. So what might look okay on the outside, not necessarily proper on the inside, you know what I mean? So like these look like they're matched, but the tabs on the inside are not matched to one another. It's very important that you actually match the tabs on the inside so they're right beside each other. They do lean to one side, so if you do put them in like backwards, they're just not going to fit. So, and forcing them, you can maybe break pieces. I've never done it, but okay. So that's just something that's important to note, is that you have to match them up properly. Otherwise, they won't fit. Okay. So that is the bottom layer. Just give you an idea of how it should look around the bottom. Just like that. Again, do not lift the core because these pieces are just sitting on the ground. They're not actually attached to the core yet. Okay, now the fun part. You want to grab all your centers except the top one. We're going to place all these centers now. And it's a real big pain, so just forewarning. Maybe I can offer you a better camera angle than this. Okay, so we're going to place the edges in through the top and then slide them down into place. Now something you'll notice right away is that edges can only slide down a certain direction. Like if they slide down to the left, they're not going to be able to slide down to the right. I'm not really sure why it works that way. It probably has something to do with lockups. But yeah, you're going to have to deal with it. So what I like to do to make this as easy as possible is I'll place two edges on one side And then I'll just flip them around to the other side very gently because I don't want to break anything else. Flip them around to the other side, and that makes it really easy to place the other two. And of course, make sure that the edges are all oriented correctly with the tab to the inside and the goofy curly thing to the outside. Alright, I'll give you one more example, then I'll just jump ahead. Okay, so this time they'll only slide down to the right. So I'll slide two down to the right, and then I'll just flip them over. Okay, cool, so that's that step done. Now we want to place the middle layer edges. Alright, the easiest way I've found to place these is just to take the, just slide the pieces away from each other if you can. And you just place it in. The centers do slide a little bit, so that gives you a bit of play for when you're placing the pieces. You don't have to force them. Alright, just like that. That's the first three layers done. Alright, now we attach the last center. Cool. And if you twist them a little bit, they won't fall over. And the rest is pretty self-explanatory. Snap the rest of the pieces in. Okay, to disassemble an Eastsheen 4x4, you're going to need a small blade, and you're also going to need a bucket for all the pieces. There's 129 pieces, so you're going to need something to put them in. What you're going to want to do is just insert the blade in between two of the center pieces, and gently pry upwards. And the center caps will just pop off. And you do this for all four on whatever center you like. Now, you don't really have to worry about breaking these pieces, because really they're just a cap that fits onto one of these pegs. There's really nothing to break. I mean, don't reef on it or anything, but don't worry about doing any damage to your puzzle by taking it apart like this. Alright, you're going to notice that there is actually a centerpiece for the Eastsheen 4x4. It's kind of surprising. What you're going to want to do is take a small screwdriver and undo the center screw. The center cap will fall off and the top of the puzzle will basically just crumble. Then just spin the pieces and the entire puzzle will fall apart. Now I'm not actually going to take it apart, and I know you're probably wondering how I'm going to explain how to put it back together if I don't take it apart, but I actually have a very good way of doing so. When I got this puzzle, it came with a lovely little sheet that explains how to disassemble and reassemble the Eastsheen. Explains it very well, although they do have very broken English, and I'm going to put this online. I already actually did put this online. It's available on my website in PDF format, and when you print it out, it looks like this. Carbon copy. Looks amazing. And I recommend that everyone that has an Eastsheen 4x4 download this if you don't already have the sheet. So that should be very helpful, and that's about it. Sorry I didn't take this apart for you guys, but I really just don't have the time to do that. So, talk to you later. Take it easy.